What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and it's time for your weekly D&D update. I'm sorry that it's so late. I ran into a lot of issues editing our Tuesday night stream, so it got a little bit delayed. But fear not, it is here. We actually have some pretty interesting new stuff. A lot of stuff about books, but more importantly, this month's Unearthed Arcana is released, and there are new options for bards and for fighters. So stay tuned. So I'm going to save that stuff for last, so let's jump to the front. Ashes of the Tyrant, the book we've... Oops, let's jump to this. Here we go. Ashes of the Tyrant, the newest book released in the Brimstone Angel series by Erin Evans, has been added to the Sundered book club on Goodreads. This is basically just a collection of D&D based books. There are other, you can see, kind of posts about this. Here are all the other R.A. Salvatore books, and other Sundering and also D&D related novels. The Rage of Demons, the third set of D&D backgrounds are available. You can see there's this one right here, Demogorgon, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry, Baphomet? Elephos? One of those. There is a Dice Master tournament here that you can join, which again, all the links will be in the description. So this is here you can register for the program for the D&D Dice Master. You can win a lot of prizes for this as well. So you can go ahead and check this out. Again, I'm not too knowledgeable about Dice Masters. I keep saying I'm going to do it because I have the starter set. Now that I'm learning a new, I'm learning Adobe Premiere now. So once I finish learning that, editing my videos will go a lot quicker. So I'll be able to put some more stuff out. But that's neither here nor there. Sorry, I'm also getting over a cold. There is a new podcast here, the D&D podcast, with a Dungeon Master from the Adventure Zone podcast, Griffin McElroy, and you can click right here to listen to the podcast, or you can go and download it on iTunes. They kind of did this for Out of the Abyss too. This is a classic D&D game, the Vault of the Drow, and there is this very large... I won't click on this to open it up, because if you are ever planning on playing either the old version or updating it to 5e, this basically is spoilers because it directs you through the entire campaign. As you see, you start down here, you can follow kind of the red dotted line all the way through to the end. But I really like this because it's got little caveats that kind of talk about the different things. Right here, there's the Out of the Abyss walkthrough poster. I really like this. These are kind of easy because they are Underdark based or one kind of pit. I'd love to see these for the other pre-written campaigns, and other popular campaigns as well, but we'll see if that happens. Here's again an article about Erin M. Evans about Ashes of the Tyrant on, and this article is written by John Scalzi, so you can go ahead and check this out. This is the last big idea of the end of the year, on his website. Just a small Kickstarter, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's just started, but it's from Lunar Wolf Treats, which I believe is located, I want to say, in Atlanta. Yep, in Atlanta. And they make chocolate dice and gummy dice, as well as oversized chocolate D20s. And you can see these aren't just your solid, like you normally see, solid chocolate, one color. There are various colors. They do marbleized dice as well. I don't know if these have different flavors as well, but how cool is that? You could basically have your own marbleized dice that are chocolate, or you can get these large ones, which is a half-pound D20 mold, or you could get them in gummy versions, which is right up my alley. Chocolate, oh, here you go, chocolate types: milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate, vanilla chocolate. Vanilla, I guess it's white chocolate. And then the gummy flavors are all of these. And here are the various reward levels. They have blown past their goal. And you can see for not a lot of money, you can get a fair amount of these. For $35, 3 huge gummy D20s, which I believe that goal has been reached. 8 sets of gummy dice, 4 sets of chocolate swirl dice, 2 huge gummy D20s, and 2 chocolate ones, or any of these. Actually, I'm sorry, it's any of these. My bad. But anyway, you can go ahead and check out this Kickstarter if you're looking for some fun D&D themed chocolates or gummies from Lunar Wolf Treats. Again, link in the description. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the Kits of Old article about bards and fighters. Rangers. Okay. 2 bard colleges. The College of Swords. This is a 2-weapon themed bard college. You get proficiency with medium armor and scimitars, so a little bit of an improvement. Not exactly as good as the Valor Bard, although because you do get medium armor. You don't get shields, but you get 2 swords, and you get the 2-weapon fighting style, allowing you to add your ability mod to your offhand attack. You also get these bonuses at 3rd level. You can do these as an action, wielding any kind of, well, not any bladed weapon, dagger, longsword, rapier, scimitar, or short sword. As an action, when you use the attack action, you can do one of these flourishes. Spin your blades around you in swift circles, creating a hypnotic display. As a bonus action, you can expend a Bardic Inspiration die and add that to your AC until the start of your next turn. That's pretty big. That's a solid boost to your AC, potentially. I mean, at a minimum of a 1, and it could be up to 12 at higher levels. Trick Shooter's Flourish, the favorite trick of knife throwers. You expend 1 Bardic Inspiration die as a bonus action. Roll an Inspiration die and apply the number rolled as a bonus to the next range attack you make with a dagger. If the target of the attack is unattended, the bonus equals double the die roll. If the target of the attack is an unattended inanimate object, the bonus is double. So that's like to try to hit something specific. And Unnerving Flourish, this is an interesting one. If you reduce a creature to 0 hit points, you basically reduce them. Use a bonus action, expend a Bardic Inspiration die, and instead you leave them at 1 hit point, and the creature is frightened for you for a number of minutes equal to your Charisma modifier. They also make a Charisma saving throw. Your Bardic DC equals your spellcasting mod plus whatever you rolled on the Bardic Inspiration die. If they fail that saving throw, it will then answer any of your questions truthfully, and you obeys your direct orders while it's still frightened. So the frighten effect is no save, automatic, and then you can get them to tell you the truth if they pass or fail the save. 2 attacks at level 6, and battle magic like the Valor Bard gets, where when you use an action to cast a Bard spell, you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action. So there you go. College of Satire. This is the best I can describe this is they call them jesters, but it's basically a rogue bard mixture, and I mean they're fairly similar to start. So 3rd level you get Thieves Tools proficiency. You also get proficiency in Sleight of Hand and an additional skill of your choice. If you already have Thieves Tools or Sleight of Hand, you can pick two other things, either tools or skills. You also get this ridiculous skill called Tumbling Fool, which as a bonus action you can tumble. When tumbling, you gain the following benefits. The benefits of dash and disengage, a climbing speed equal to your current speed, and you take half damage from falling. So let's think that through. You're using your bonus action to tumble. You now have the benefits of dash and disengage. So you use the bonus action to get your full movement. If you're a human or anything like that, that's 30 feet of movement combined with disengage. So that is a non-opportunity attack provoking 25 to 35 foot movement depending on which race you pick. And that's a bonus action. You'd still have your regular move on top of that. So you could do a tumble, move full speed while disengaging, and then move another full move and then attack. Pretty powerful. Fool's Insight is pretty interesting. You can cast Detect Thoughts up to a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier. You gain these back on a long rest. If the creature resists your attempt to probe their mind, they immediately suffer some embarrassing social gaffe. It might be loudly passing gas, unleash a thunderous burp, trip and fall, or compelled to tell a tasteless joke. So I like it because it's like even if they succeed, they still kind of screw something up a little bit, and I think that's kind of funny. And Fool's Luck, which is probably the one you're going to want to use the least because it gives the DM kind of a way to screw you over. 14th level, you can use a Bardic Inspiration die. The big thing on this is after you've already failed an ability check, saving throw, or missed an attack roll. Key point is you already fail. Most saving throws and other kind of bonus action abilities and things like that in this game, they activate after you make the roll, but before the DM tells you whether that's a pass or a fail. This is after you've already failed. So keep that in mind. Roll a Bardic Inspiration die and add that number to the attack, saving throw, or ability check, using this to replace whatever the failed roll was. However, make sure you keep track of what you rolled. If that turns into a success, then the DM keeps that number that you rolled and can apply that as a penalty to any attack or check you make at any point of their choosing. And you're not allowed to use the Fool's Luck ability again until the penalty has applied. When the DM invokes the penalty, describe the mistake that happens as a part of the affected die roll. So you're like, oh man, good thing I saved against that Dragon's Breath weapon, and the DM's like, actually, we're going to subtract that by 5, because that's what you rolled. And that could result in your failure, and then you have to describe socially how you screwed up and made that thing happen. Actually, attack or check, so it would work for saving throw or an attack. But this is an always-on ability that you always have, and could be the thing that turns that success, or that failure, into a success, defeating that enemy before they can run away, or something like that. But the DM gets to turn your luck back on you at the end, so keep that in mind. 2 fighter abilities as well, or 2 fighter subclasses. The Cavalier, this is your mounted combat-based character. At 3rd level, you gain proficiency in 2 of the following skills: Animal Handling, Insight, Performance, or Persuasion. You can choose to gain 1 tool proficiency in place of that, which is nice because it's not limited to any tool. You could choose Thief tools if you really wanted. Born to Saddle. You have advantage on saving throws made to avoid falling off of your mount. If you fall off your mount, you always land on your feet, if you're not capable of taking any actions. And mounting or dismounting a creature costs only 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. I always forget that. So I feel like that's not as useful for me, because in most of the games I played, we don't play with that. We just allow it to kind of be a thing, but, you know, that if you play rules as written, that's a big deal. Turns a 15-foot move into a 5-foot. And you gain superiority dice, like a Battlemaster fighter, pretty much exactly like a Battlemaster fighter, except you can't use all of their maneuvers. You can only use the maneuvers listed. So 4 superiority dice that are all d8s. You get them back on a short or long rest. You get an additional die at 7 and an additional die at 15. And when you use your superiority dice, they can only be used for these 4 maneuvers. When you make a check to control a creature you're riding, you can expend a superiority die to add it to the check. You apply the bonus after making the check, but before learning it was successful. When you make a weapon attack against a creature, you add this to the attack roll. You can use this ability before or after making the attack roll, but before any of the effects are applied. I believe there are Battlemaster maneuvers that do this, but they all have a secondary effect. Or I could be wrong. I feel like a lot of them are added to the damage. This one lets you add, basically, at the start, a d8 to your attack roll, which is pretty big. When you make an attack with a lance while mounted, you can expend 1 superiority die to add it to your damage roll. Remember, a lance does a d12, so this is a d12 plus a d8. In addition, they have to make a strength saving throw, DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus and strength mod, or be knocked prone. Remember, prone creatures, when they're in melee and you're attacking a prone creature in melee, that gives you advantage on the attacks. And a lance has 10-foot reach as well, so don't forget that. It's a d12 damage and has a 10-foot reach, so that can actually be a very useful thing. It's actually potentially worth taking the 3 levels here as a paladin, because as a paladin you get Fine Steed, and your steed will be better than most things you could buy, and this will actually give you all of those benefits. If you or your mount are hit by an attack while you're mounted, you can expend a superiority die as a reaction, adding the number rolled to you or your mount's AC. If the attack damage still hits, you or your mount take half damage from it. That is huge. That's a reactionary use of a superiority die. It's bumping up you or your mount's AC, and again, mounts typically don't have a ton of health, and their AC is usually pretty low to begin with. You're adding that to your AC, and if it still manages to hit you, you take half damage. That's resistance to anything. If the attack, it says if you're hit by an attack, so it doesn't, I don't know, I'd have to look up the specifics. Is a spell considered attack? Probably not, it's considered a spell. Is a breath weapon from a dragon considered an attack? I don't think so, but again, something to look into. 7th level, you get Ferocious Charger. You gain additional benefits when you use superiority die to increase your damage with a lance. That's that one we talked about where you also get the strength throw. You can expend 2 superiority dice on the attack, adding both to the damage roll. If you spend 2 dice, the target has disadvantage on its strength saving throw to avoid being knocked prone. Paint that picture again. You are riding a horse. You have your lance. You can hit anything within 10 feet of you. So not just 5 feet, you're at 10 feet. You roll to hit. You're now rolling a d12 plus 2d8. And they have disadvantage on a strength saving throw to be knocked prone. If that's your first attack at level 7, your second attack, which again will have a d12, potentially plus 2d8 if you choose to use more superiority die, and now you're rolling that attack at advantage. If you crit, you're now rolling 2d12 plus 4d8 extra damage on that crit. Pretty solid. 10th level, your superiority dice turn into d10s, and at 18th they turn into 12, and you get Relentless like a Battle Master at level 15. When you roll initiative and have no superiority dice, you regain 1. And the second one is the Scout. This one's a little upsetting to me because Scout was one of my favorite classes in 3.5, and this just seems like a cheap, kind of easy way to get out, and it's not as good. Skirmish is nowhere to be found, which was their whole mechanic, but I'll read it to you anyway. You gain proficiency in 3 skills, which this is fairly nice. Acrobatics, Athletics, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, Stealth, or Survival. And you can choose to gain proficiency with Thieves' Tools in place of these. Again, another way to get you access to Thieves' Tools. And these are all very Ranger-specific skills. So if you're trying to make an archery-themed fighter, this would probably be the one you'd want to take, potentially. You get superiority dice exactly the same as the Cavalier, exactly the same as the Battle Master. Again, like the Cavalier, you are limited to 3 maneuvers, and they are as follows. This is where I kind of feel a little upset about it. When you make a check that allows you to apply your proficiency in Athletics, Nature, Perception, Stealth, or Survival, you can expend a superiority die to bolster that check. And this is what really sucks. Add half the number rolled on the superiority die, rounding up to your check. You apply this after making the check, but before it was learning if it was successful. So, this is like a shitty version of guidance at the start. You roll a d8, and you divide it by 2, and add that to your Athletics, Nature, Perception, Stealth, or Survival check. If it was just you add the roll, I mean, this is your superiority die. You only have 4 at the start. So, if it was my game, I think I'd nix the half. Because, yeah, it's a big deal, but you could still roll a 1, and then, or a 2, and you're still only getting 1 on that roll. And at max, you're looking at 6 if you have a d12 at level 17. So kind of not great, but let's move on to the next maneuver. When you make a weapon attack against a creature, you can expend your superiority die to add it to the attack roll. Again, you have to use it after, you can use it after making the attack roll, but before you know the effects on whether it's a miss or a hit. So similar to the Cavalier, it's just an extra d8 at the start to your attack, which is pretty nice. Especially if you have the archery fighting style, you already have a +2 to your attack. And if you hit an attack, or if you are hit by an attack while wearing light or medium armor, you can expend 1 superiority die as a reaction, adding the number rolled to your AC. If the attack still hits, you take half damage from it. Again, that's another big one you're going to want to do, because this is like a shield, essentially. A shield and an absorb elements, if you will. This could potentially take a hit and turn it into a miss. And even if it does still hit, you take half damage from it. Pretty big. Kind of shitty here, too. At 3rd level, you gain Natural Explorer as a ranger does. You get a favored terrain at level 3. You get an additional one at level 7, and an additional one at level 15. Your combat superiority dice, they increase at 10 and 18, similar to the other classes. And you get Relentless at level 15. And that's it. I feel like getting Natural Explorer choosing 3 favored terrains does not compare at all to being able to roll 2 superiority dice and giving them disadvantage on the damage, or the saving throw to fall prone, like Ferocious Charger. You get that for the Cavalier, however you do get 3 favored terrains. I don't really think it's worth it. I would love to have seen a skirmish mechanic. Perhaps it would be if you move, then you can add your superiority dice to the damage after you hit, or something like that. They kind of have it a little bit where you can add it to your AC here after you're already hit. You can add it to your 2 hit, but you can't actually add it to the damage. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think about the new classes, these new Unearthed Arcana variants. These are the last ones we're going to see for the month of January, so we're not going to get any real new stuff unless they announce a new campaign or a new source book until February. So it's a good way to start off the new year. It's nice to see new classes and not just kind of like one or two race variants like we saw with the Tieflings. But you never know. Again, guys, you can go ahead and click up here to review the Tuesday D&D stream. The other one will be going up. It'll probably be up, actually, by the time you see this video. It was a really fun game. It was supposed to be only 2 hours, but it turned into 3. The party fights off Yetis and an evil version of my own concoction of Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. This is a continuation of our Christmas episode. They are our Winter's Crest, if you will. It's rough. The party almost doesn't make it on several occasions. Let's see if you can think of the ways you could defeat an evil Rudolph automatically before watching it, because there were several ways, all Christmas themed. And click right here in the middle to see my review of the official Dungeons & Dragons character folio. A pretty cool, relatively inexpensive way to store all of your character information. However, again, it can be replicated with a binder and a couple of plastic sleeves. And down the bottom is our D&D discussion show. Again, I'm sorry, we wanted to do the evil campaign one, but I guess that gives you guys one more week to work on ideas for an evil campaign. They got too distracted by the Christmas episode and it ran too long. We ran an hour past our run time to finish that game. But we will be doing that this coming week. Triple D, Dungeons & Dragons and Discussions. This Tuesday, the 12th, will be all about evil campaigns. And we want to get all your guys' feedback. Have you played in an evil campaign before? How did it go? What would you have changed? Are you thinking about running one? We want to get you guys in there to talk with us about it. So come on in and let us know. But yeah, thank you guys again for the support. We are 10 subscribers away from 400 subs on YouTube. That's really big for us. Can't wait for that. We're also approaching 50,000 views at the same time. It looks like it might actually happen at the same time, depending on how this goes, so we'd be super pumped for that. And there'll be lots of other D&D videos soon. A couple of our collaborations that we're doing are going to be hitting, hopefully, YouTube this week, I hear. But you can stay tuned to this channel. I'll make a video when that stuff comes out. Anyway, guys, it's great talking to you, and as always, happy gaming, and I'll see you next time.